It's so good. It's so good. Just give me one moment. It's good. It's good. It's good. First of all, happy freaking New Year 2022. If you're watching this video, or even if you're not watching this video and you're live, you made it. I don't know what we made it to, but we are here and we're gonna try, right? To like make it better than it was last year. But God knows, it just seems like it's getting worse. This is a video that I've been wanting to make for a long time now, but I felt like I needed time to actually get a good scope or handle on it all. I have a notebook and I took down notes because I wanted to like try to make this make as much sense as possible. So give me 1 second, thanks. Got it. I don't really know what I'm gonna title this video yet. I have a couple of ideas, like why I left America, or finding my peace in China, or finding my peace abroad. I guess we'll just start off with why I left America. And to be very short and frank and to the point, your boy was just tired. Okay, I was tired. I was so tired of just everything. I'm not trying to center this video around my color or around me being African American, but it's hard to avoid that as a topic of discussion when you live in a place that constantly reminds you that you are other, you are of a certain demographic. And it really does come into play in almost every area of, you know, your life. There's a certain level of, I think, mental exhaustion that exists and persists when you're in a country that is just so, or can be so overwhelmingly racist at times. Can I say racist on YouTube? Is that still allowed? I've had to deal with racism in my workplace, in educational environments, you know, in college, university, high school, in the military. When I was in the Air Force, I came into contact with it and had to, you know, deal with people that were in positions of authority and power over me that were also racist or prejudiced against me. And it's just been years and years and years of constant, like, just onslaught of these things. And you know, I never really noticed that it was something that was weighing on me so much, or something that caused me mental anxiety until after leaving America. And that's not to say that where I live now is completely and totally free of racism or prejudice or xenophobia. There's definitely, you know, those things here, and I've definitely come into contact with some of it already, but it's not as blatant, it's not as in your face, it's not as aggressive, it's not as violent, and it's not as dangerous as it is back in America. When I lived back in the States, just pulling up next to a cop car was something that was very, it was like a hold my breath kind of moment. And it caused me anxiety. It made me feel uncomfortable or unsettled because I would always go through this scenario in my head of, okay, this is a cop car, I see him, I think he or she sees me. Is he a black cop? Is he a Spanish cop? What? Okay. You know, I'm like checking off all these things in my head just to kind of gauge the situation and decide what I need to do next. You know, if it's a white cop, okay, do I make eye contact or do I not make eye contact? If I don't make eye contact, is he going to think that I'm trying to hide something? If I do make eye contact, is he going to think that I'm trying to hide something? You know, and end up pulling me over for whatever reason? Then what's the next, you know, escalation point of this whole interaction? Like, these are scenarios that I would literally mentally prep for almost every day of my life. I'm the type of person where I'm always playing scenarios out in my head anyway. And so for me, this is just what my mind naturally went to. I didn't realize that that was something that I was doing all of the time. Not having to deal with that has released like a huge amount of pressure off of my shoulders, off of my chest, off of my mind. And it's almost just kind of like, I can breathe lighter now than I did before. And again, it was not something that I realized until actually leaving the country and living in another place. You know, this is my first time living abroad. I lived in Italy for like 4.5 years. Living in Italy for me was really different though. You know, I was in the military and I was still very young in my experiences in life. And I was kind of like in a bubble. You know, when you're in the military, I think anybody who's been in the military or who is in the military knows that you're kind of in like this bubble of a community, especially when you live overseas. You know, and again, I was living in Italy. I really didn't have much interactions with cops or anything like that. But like I said, even there, I felt the weight of my skin, right? Or the weight of my color. Having to deal with racism or prejudice in the workplace, you know, and systemic racism that exists even in places of work is something that I've had to deal with on several occasions when I lived back in America, when I lived in the States. Now, don't get me wrong, there's definitely systemic racism or prejudice when it comes to working in China. I will talk about that in another video, that this video is not about any of those things. But I can say that the prejudice that I've dealt with here, or the racism that I've dealt with here, has been far less than when I was in America. And it has not prevented me from still living and pursuing a greater and higher quality of life, salary-wise, position-wise, and placement-wise. Well, placement maybe sometimes. But overall, it hasn't really prevented me or stopped me from doing much of the things that I want to do here in China. The constant feeling of when is it my turn? The constant barrage of, you know, just seeing people of color, not just black people. I don't really know how I feel about being called black anymore. Next video, not just African Americans or people of African descent, but people of color being attacked, being brutalized, being othered, being disenfranchised and disregarded. You know, these are images that I've grown up with my entire life. I'm 35 years old, and I can definitely say that more than a quarter of my life, all of my life, these are the images that I've been raised with. It creates and instills in you a certain type of mental anguish. That's the best thing that I can call it. That's the best thing that I can say. It really just makes you feel like you don't belong here. Like you don't belong on this planet. I was speaking to an African a couple months back, and we were having a conversation about just life in the world. And I literally said to him, you know, sometimes I honestly believe that God sent us to the wrong planet. And he burst out in laughter because he could not agree more. You know, I feel like sometimes we just live in a world where it's just like the only place for us as people of color, as African Americans or African lineage, African descent, is Africa. Maybe I need to head to Africa and see what's really good in the motherland, in the homeland. Overall, my time in China has been very good. I have not felt an overwhelming mental anxiety of your skin color is a problem or you are a problem. I have not felt that so much here. Not being afraid to go outside, to walk down a street at night, to enter into a school or a public restaurant or movie theater. Not being afraid of who's coming in with a gun or who's going to, come in and try to stab you or do this. 2 years in this country and I have not seen one person anywhere with a gun unless they were like in the military. I mean, even the police officers don't walk around with guns. So the only time that I see it is when they're doing like money pickups at the bank. That's the only time I see guns. And honestly, I don't even think their guns are loaded. Y'all know damn well ain't nobody coming to rob this bank. Ain't nobody coming to take no money. Like, kudos for y'all having jobs. But y'all know ain't nobody coming to rob y'all. So I don't even know why y'all putting on this big show. Like, I mean, they be standing there like this too. Looking all mean face. Like, boy, if I came over there and tickled you right now, you'd start giggling. So just stop. Anyway, that's the only time I see a gun. Other than that, I really don't see guns and weapons. People really don't have guns like that. But I still am worried about, like, okay, is somebody coming to like throw acid? Is someone coming to, start stabbing people? Like, these are the things that I still hold in my mind and I'm always looking out for. Whenever I enter into a building, I'm still looking for the closest exit. I'm still watching who's coming in and who's coming out. But Chinese people don't do that. Chinese people, they just go into a space and unless they're with another person, it's like nobody else is there. Like they're just in their world. Usually Chinese people are like this. This being their cell phone. And their head is down in their cell phone, minding their business. And whatever is going on around them, they are usually blithely unaware of it all. I'm not used to being able to feel that comfortable that I'm not paying attention to my surroundings. And, in America, I was constantly on alert. That's why sometimes I didn't even feel like going anywhere. I didn't feel like driving anywhere. I didn't feel like doing anything because there was just so much tension. Anytime that I stepped out of my door, okay, I have to watch this. I have to be on alert. I have to look at that. I have to check over my back. Who's walking behind me? Who's next to me? What is he doing? What is he got in his pocket? Like, constant. This is how my mind was operating. In China, it's just like, I can read a book. At Starbucks, I can just read. I don't have to see who's walking in because he's not gonna walk in and do anything. He probably just wants a latte. Oh, what is this book saying? Oh, look at that. Empirical. Oh, I've learned a new word. Let me Google it. It's a different environment. It is a complete and totally different environment. And again, it's another layer of mental anguish or anxiety or exhaustion that I no longer have to deal with. Of course, crime still happens. Crime happens everywhere. But I can guarantee you and promise you that the amount of crime that happens in the area that I'm in, compared to where I lived in America, it would be like 0.5 to 100. Like, that's what the ratio would be. The world is just so big, and I always learn so much when I go to a new place, when I see new faces, when I see how people live and how they experience life and reality. One of my biggest goals and one of my biggest desires is to travel and explore. For me, America was always a box that I was in. I grew up in America. I grew up with American systems and American beliefs and American values. As I started to read and research and learn, I began to understand that there's just so much more to the world and to life than America. And it made me want to explore. It made me want to see different places, experience different cultures and different ways of being and of living. Asia has definitely been a place for a very long time that I've wanted to travel to and explore. Being in such close proximity to other countries, I mean, India is right there. Indonesia, you have Vietnam, you have Thailand, you have Taiwan, Singapore, Malaysia, Japan, Korea. Like, All of these countries are right there and easily accessible. The quality of life of many Americans isn't that great. Work, 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 retire, die. And I don't even have to say Americans. I can even say my parents, you know, people that I know personally. The quality of their life was never something that I myself aspired to. And I don't say that with any slight or malice or malicious intent. I'm just saying it because it's my truth. It's not something that I wanted for myself. I'm referencing China because that's where I am. You know, it could have been Thailand, it could have been Vietnam, it could have been Korea, it could have been Japan. Leaving America and moving to China has increased the overall quality of my life by tenfold. How has my quality of life increased so much? Let's break it down. I have so much more time than I ever thought possible being a working adult, having what is considered to be a full-time job. So where is all of this extra time coming from? Well, I go to work Monday through Friday, right? Just like probably most of us do. However, what most of us don't get is a 3-hour lunch break. Yeah, I'll give you a moment to absorb that. Yes, I get a three-hour lunch break. Monday through Friday. It's 3 hours that I can do whatever I want with. Usually I go to the gym. Sometimes I may take a nap or go for a walk or a bike ride or read a book or practice and study Chinese. But every day, usually, I get a 3-hour lunch break. If, you know, we need to have a meeting or something like that, then we're asked to come back 30 minutes earlier. So our 3-hour lunch break becomes a 2.5-hour lunch break. I'm still not complaining. Vacation time. I get so much vacation time. I'm talking about holidays, paid, you know, government holidays. I'm talking about regular just vacation time because of the season. I work at a school, and so I usually get anywhere between 1.5 to maybe 2 months vacation every year. It's probably a little bit more than that if I really sit down and calculate 2 weeks in winter, 2 weeks in summer, but I extend that for another 2 weeks. So that's already a 1.5 months, plus all of the Chinese holidays. Yeah, it's like 2 months, 2.5 months worth of vacation time that I take every year. And that's in my current job. There are places where I could get up to 3 months vacation every year. That is not the norm in America. 2 weeks in most places is probably even a bit decadent. For me right now, and for a very long time, the most important thing to me has been my time and how I use my time. Because you can do a lot of things if you just have the time. And I think that a lot of people don't understand. They don't understand that concept and that idea of just having time to be able to sit and plan and think and prepare and do is very important. Time is an asset. It's so important. And I think people really undervalue the importance and the significance of just having time. In America, I feel like a lot of people don't have time to even stop and think about other possibilities or other ideas or other, you know, mechanisms or ways of living and breathing and creating and exploring, because they're just so busy with making it to the next day, making it to the next paycheck. I would definitely say that my work to income ratio is quite lopsided right now, meaning I do about this amount of work and my income is about here. At least in my eyes, I view it to be very lopsided. I don't feel like I'm being slaved at my job. I don't feel like I'm sweating blood for the organization that I work for. I don't feel as if I'm, having to literally pour my soul and my life's energy into my job, which, by the way, I would never do for any job because you are always replaceable. I don't care what they tell you, you're replaceable. Another factor that deals with my quality of life here in China is also expenses. It is extremely affordable to live in China. I know I have to be careful in saying that because I cannot speak for everyone. I have to speak based on my experience. So with my current job, my current position, and my salary, it is extremely affordable and inexpensive to live here in China. I currently live in America, this would be considered an apartment. But in China, these are considered houses. These are considered homes. So I will be respectful of the place that I'm currently in and call it what it is called here in this country. I currently live in a 3-bedroom house on the top floor, which I think is like a thing in China. Like being on the top floor is like, ooh, it's the top floor, whatever. So I live on the top floor, the 23rd floor of my building in a 3-bedroom house, 2 bathrooms, balcony, nice view. My monthly rent is about 3,180 yuan. That is 499 US dollars. Go ahead, I'll give you a moment. I know! What? I live in a nice upscale area. A house or an apartment like this in America, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, top floor with a view. I don't even know because it's been so long since I've had to deal with like rental and housing and the housing market in America, but I can guarantee you it's more than 1,500. You would not find this in America. Not in an area like this. My income to expense ratio is way lopsided. If I wanted to like grunge it out and grit it out, I could probably spend 15 to 20, maybe 25% of my income. I could live off of that and then pocket and save the rest. I couldn't do that in America. And in America, the last, I'll say, real job that I had when I was working at the Department of Revenue in Oregon State, I was pulling in more than $4,000 a month. My rent would have been more than $1,500, and that was for like a 2-bedroom. And it wasn't even in a nice area, at least not nice according to my standards. I think maybe nice according to Salem, Oregon standards, which isn't saying much with, all of the other expenses, with the tax, with everything. I was not able to save that much money. The cost of food here is so inexpensive and so affordable. Like if I want to eat out every day, I can definitely do that. It will be a bit more expensive, especially depending on like what type of restaurants I'm going to. Usually if I go grocery shopping, I spend about 2,500 yuan. Which is about 392, so we'll just round it up and say $400 a month on groceries, which for one person is probably a lot, but that also has to do a lot with where I choose to shop. But if I shop locally, like at the supermarket right around the corner, that price would drop significantly. I decided to add a screen showing what I consider to be my mandatory monthly expenses. These are the basic things that I have to pay for every month to survive. You might notice that there are question marks next to the water bill. Yeah. That's because I haven't paid a water bill for more than 2 years. I'm not sure why. The places I've moved into recently have all been brand new developments, and I guess it takes more than a year for the water bill to start being generated because every time I ask the landlords for the water bill, they say they haven't gotten one yet.
I've been in my current home for 1 year and 1 month and still no water bill. I put 100 yuan as a worst case scenario, but even when I was paying a water bill, it never went over 60.
I don't even sometimes really comprehend the amount of money I'm able to save here and the way I'm able to just live. I live so comfortably, guys. My overall quality of life with all the factors that I've mentioned to you is just so much better and has become so much better since I left America and started living abroad here in China. I want to be very clear, this is not an anti-America video. This is not a pro-China video. I'm not trying to say anything political here. This is my experience. This is my truth thus far. Could everything change tomorrow? Of course it could, because that's life and anything could happen. But as of right now, my overall experience living abroad, leaving America, has really been so significant and so important to my personal growth, my mental and intellectual growth, my financial growth and freedom, my just overall being. It has been good for me. I hope that maybe gives you some clarity. I hope that I stayed true to the topic of this video, which is why I left America. I hope that I answered those questions or that question. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, I don't even want to be one of those people. If you liked this video, then hit the like and subscribe button, share it with your friends and your family and your grandmama. And you know, all of that. Like, I don't want to be one of those people, but like, if you liked it, like it. If you watched it, you know, whatever. Bye.